I love this guy. I'm thrilled to be able to call him a friend, not just a friend of the program. He's in the new film Shoplifters of the World. He also plays Deathstroke in the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Also enjoyed him in True Blood and Magic Mike. And you could basically say he's as multifaceted as the 20-sided die he plays with in his Dungeons and Dragons club. He's Joe Manganiello. How are you, Joe? How's that for an intro?
How are you, Rich?
I know you. I know you through.
You know me very well, yes.
I do. When's the last time you played Dungeons and Dragons? When's the last time a little D&D for you?
I haven't been playing lately. I've been swamped with work with launching these movies a week apart from each other, and then some other stuff that I'm filming, and then something else I'm working on. It's a writing deadline, so I've been
locked in.
A little over my head lately.
So Dungeons and Dragons is kind of like the Snyder Cut of games, right? Takes forever. And it's highly enjoyable, right? It lasts forever. Is that what it is?
Yes. Except ours are it's like 4 hours a night at least. I mean, with my guys, they want to go till 2 a.m. So
come on now.
It's like usually like 7 hours.
How are you? You good? Everything good in your world?
I'm doing good. You know,
Sounds like you're busy.
Busy. So just keeping busy and finding new ways to keep busy. But I've been good. We've been all right over here. We miss seeing you and Susie.
Exactly. I feel the same way about you guys too, and and congrats on the film. I saw the review in the New York Times, and a buddy of mine who does a lot of our work around here. He gives us all this great arts and crafts, and he makes our coasters, and he makes a whole bunch of stuff for our CedarSpills.com friend Tom Person. He sent something for you and Sophia because he watched your movie. He loved it.
Oh, great.
He loved what you said. You hit Gene Simmons in the face or something like that. So.
Yeah, Gene had a real sense of humor. He was great. He allowed us to use his likeness on a mug that gets shot by a gun,
Shoplifters of the World,
kids posters and things like that.
What's this movie about for those who don't know it, Joe?
For people that don't know, there's an urban legend that in 1987, when the Smiths broke up, a young man was so distraught that he held up his local hair metal station at gunpoint and forced them to play nothing but Smiths records all night long to impress a girl he was in love with.
Wow.
So years later we made that movie. Actually, I think like the movie Airheads was inspired by this story,
right.
and so we're here to tell the story that was loosely inspired by those events. And it's also about a bunch of kids on the eve of. When you leave high school, you're at that age, what am I going to do with my life? We're all going to leave our humdrum town. And it's about these kids and how much of an impact the Smiths had on them. And then this one night in their lives, this one eventful night in their lives that so happened to be the night that the Smiths broke up.
Do you remember the last cassette tape you bought, Joe Manganiello?
Oh, my God. The last cassette tape?
Yes.
Boy.
What was the last cassette tape you bought?
I mean, I remember... I had all the old 80s Metallica albums. I had Appetite for Destruction, so it probably would have been somewhere in that age.
Okay. Did you have the tape deck in your car? Did you have that too?
Sure. And then I actually had the tape that goes in that connects to a little CD disc man that you can put under your seat.
Yeah.
Actually, one time I had the adapter for an 8-track. That you would put in there, and then you put the cassette in the... TJ, you're looking at me like that actually existed, yes. Where it would pop up, you'd put the cassette in, it would fit in your 8-track slot of your dashboard.
I had the one that had the record. You put the record in it, and it had a string that played an 8-track.
That's very strange. That's very strange, but oh my gosh. So what would the football version of this be that you hold up... or you stopped, I guess, the selling of sandwich at Primanti Brothers until Juju Smith-Schuster signs long term, but you only got one year out of it? Is that what's the football version of Shoplifters of the World?
At the letting go of Steven Nelson's contract, that I went downtown and held up Sammy's corned beef.
That's the Shoplifters of the World version of the Steelers offseason.
Until Mike Hilton came back like Tyson Alualu.
Joe Manganiello is pulling them all out right now. So, I mean, I got to tell you, Joe, I'm genuinely concerned about your team's 2021 season. Even though Big Ben's decided to come back, that was I'm worried. I'm nervous for you that the Browns and the Ravens even the Ravens. It took them a few shots at getting a veteran receiver until Sammy Watkins said yes for 1 year, $5 million. But I'm concerned for your team. I'm not going to lie. What do you think?
Well, I think it is a very unusual year. So I think a couple of factors went into that. Number one, you've got a lot of the deferred pay for Ben Roethlisberger all of a sudden catching up. It's like driving your station wagon around for 17 years, just throwing cups and wrappers into the back and then slamming on the brakes all of a sudden. So there was all of that money to be handled. And then on top of that, you have this COVID cap. So, we're looking at $30 million less in a year that we also, the third factor is we had 24 free agents to sign, including, half of the defensive starters. So, it's an unusual year, and it really, honestly, unfortunately, comes down to money and what we can do with money. On a year where we had more money, we're keeping Bud Dupree. We might even get T.J. Watt, or J.J. Watt. It's such an odd year for us, and we're just doing the best that we can to keep our team together, given the financial circumstances.
Got to get the running game. To. I mean, last year it was, after 11-0, the whole free football world knew you weren't going to run it, and that when you're going to throw it, it's going to be somewhere in 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and it just fell apart. You know what I'm saying? Despite everybody's best intentions. And then when Bud Dupree goes down, I mean, my goodness.
Well, Bud, and don't forget Devin Bush also.
That's
so
right.
Our linebacking core, those are two all-pro caliber players that go down in the middle of your defense that I think was a championship caliber defense up to that point. Mm-hmm. And like you're talking about the running game, you need a running game to keep your defense off the field. If you're going in there passing, and you're 3 and out, with a pass-heavy offense, you haven't taken any time off the clock. Your defense hasn't rested. And now they have to come right back out. That's going to catch up to you at the end of the games. And honestly, that was a formula that worked for the Steelers for so many years, which is why I think there's such heavy conversation right now about that 24th pick going towards a running back. And then, of course, who's going to be available? Obviously, if somebody's not available to our liking at that spot, then we're going to go offensive tackle. But, given the nature of the draft over the past decade, it's not uncommon for a really great running back to be available, at the end of the first round.
All right, let's touch the third rail, even though it really isn't that. I might be over-dramatic. But who do you want to be the next quarterback? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to draft one? You want them to wait it out, make sure, knock on the Jets' door for Sam Darnold maybe during the draft? What do you as a Steeler fan, and what do you think Steelers fans as a whole want post Big Ben, since this looks like the swan song here?
Well, you never want to say I want to lose so many games that I'm in position to get a hot quarterback. And that actually was the deal the year that we got Ben. We picked high in the draft. We usually don't pick high in the draft. We're usually competitive. So, if we're going to draft one, that means we're going to have a bad season, and that means that we're going to be high enough to get one. So, without that being said, I don't know. Sometimes you get lucky in later rounds. So I think the Steelers are a team that's going to draft their quarterback. Anybody that they bring in is just going to be a Band-Aid.
Yeah, it just seems to me Darnold would fit. I don't know.
Really? As a Jets fan, you want us to get Sam Darnold?
I do, because I think he deserves it. I think he deserves it. The one thing that he's been missing, Joe, more than anything else, is consistency. Name me a more consistent organization than the team you root for.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna lose his coach, and he's not. I mean, I know Colbert does one-year deals, but in the front office, they are who they are. You are who you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing he has not had was consistency at all. And I don't know. And he's tough. He's tough as nails. And clearly, though, the New York and the Jets is not the spot for him. I mean,
what you're saying is you believe that he is an AP caliber student. We just need to get him to a different high school with better facilities.
I do think so. Yes, Joe. Okay. And I think I'll drive him to the high school for you. If you're willing to cough up a first or a second for him, but that might be too high.
That might be too high. Would you take a third?
No, because I saw what you got for what you gave up for Minka Fitzpatrick, and he's been such a
home
run.
It's Sam Darnold. Like, we're talking Minka versus. Minka's like a perennial All-Pro.
I'm trying to talk you into it. I don't know. What if I give you the cloak of invisibility and you don't have any sort of issues with it?
Let me go talk to Kevin Colbert. I'll get back.
Okay, very good. When's the first Joe Manganiello here on the Rich Eisen Show? A few more minutes left with my buddy. When was the first time you saw the Snyder Cut?
First time I saw it was a few weeks ago. Okay. They sent me an advanced link, and I watched it in 4 hours straight. with Sophia.
Of course. I mean, but I mean, how cool must that have been for you, right? I mean, you must have really. What'd you think when you hit play on that, Joe? Because you know how many fans have been clamoring for it, demanding it, saying it exists, wanting it to exist, hoping it exists, and now it exists. What was that like for somebody who was actually in it as Deathstroke?
Well, I'm really happy for Zach, number one, because I think it's really vindicating. I think that he got to go back and finish the movie the way he wanted to, and the result is people are. The fans love it, and everyone agrees that it is. I'm glad that he got to take his time and tell the story the way he wanted to. So I'm happy for him. The thing about it is, I technically wasn't a part of Justice League. That was their movie. Mm-hmm. I was just there to advertise my Batman movie. And then, to my surprise, a few weeks before the movie came out theatrically, the Joss Whedon version, they called me and said, we reshot your scene to advertise a Justice League 2 instead of Batman because, it's not happening. And so, for me, I was, I'm really I'm a passenger, on this ship and kind of involved by default. But when Zach called me up 4 years later and said, how'd you like to put the suit back on? What do you think? Do you want to come and do this? I said, sure, yeah, of course. And that was Zach inviting me into his universe, because otherwise, like I said, I mean, the actual scene that fans get to see at the end of the Snyder Cut is the restored scene, the way that we shot it advertising the Batman movie.
I mean, dude, your career, I mean, the names of your characters, right? First of all, your current film, Shoplifters of the World, you're Full Metal Mickey.
Yeah.
You're Deathstroke in this film, the Snyder Cut. You're Big Dick Richie and Magic Mike. And
Yeah.
if you notice, I laid in all three words on that one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alcide Ervo from True Blood. I mean, my God, Flash Thompson. Dude, you're just Joe in real life. You know what I mean? And this is pretty incredible. I mean, which one is the most you?
Big Dick Richie.
That's a great answer, Joe.
Now, let me tell you what. No,
It's the only answer.
Listen, as far as aspirations
It's because your dancing
go,
skills. It's because your dancing skills.
That's the one. It's like, I mean, I'm like, look, it's a male stripper movie, not really the way I planned my career to go.
Yes.
But how am I going to say no to playing Big Dick Richie? Like, come
For
on.
Soderbergh, for Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, for Soderbergh. But, look, I mean, it's Big Dick Richie. I mean, what are you going to do? Say no? What are you, crazy?
I would say, what if there was something called a Soderbergh cut for Magic Mike, but every cut for Soderbergh is a Soderbergh cut. So you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I had Steven. Steven knows what he wants. So when he shoots, there's no real. There's no fat on the meat. It's super lean.
I saw Magic Mike. You're right.
Or he'll get everything in one take. And
Right.
He's best friends with David Fincher, who's notorious for doing 78 takes. I remember asking Steven, how are you guys friends? How do you guys not just beat the heck out of each other? How can you stand each other if you're like it? He's like, no, we just we're friends. We just have very different ways of getting what we want. And that's the truth.
No doubt about it, man. Joe, thanks for the call. Best to your lovely wife. I'll send you these goods. I have no idea what my buddy Tom Person sent for you and your wife, but he's a big fan of yours and wanted me to tell you that it's on the way. I will make sure you get it. Hope you enjoy it, and let's chat again soon. Let's get together.
Yeah, and hopefully we can see each other soon.
I would love. How's Bubbles the dog?
Bubbles is on my lap right now, taking her morning nap.
Okay. The entire conversation has had
the whole time, man. She doesn't really like it when I'm on the phone. She wants me to get off and pay attention to her. Shut up so she can sleep.
Well, she's literally what, 6 pounds?
She's 4.8.
What? So she got fat in the pandemic, is what you're saying?
Yeah, she put on the pandemic.
A little chihuahua.
0.8 ounces.
Yeah,
no, it's funny. I started working out in the backyard. I set up some stuff so I can just mix it up, and
mix it up.
I'll do squats with her on one shoulder. I'll just stick her up there and do some lunges around the house. Just switch shoulders with her.
There's a photograph. There's Bubbles looking through the door. Okay, so send my best to give her a little belly scratch.
I will.
And I hope I'm not making her jealous just by talking to you. So thanks for the call, Joe. Take care, brother. You bet. Everybody, check out. You bet. Same here to Sophia. Best Shoplifters of the World, available in theaters on demand and digital now. Good stuff, Joe Manganiello. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.